They reported about 19 million net subscriber additions last night, which, if you take a step back and really try to understand how big of a number that was, at the beginning of the year, we were forecasting the company add in last calendar year about 20 million net additions, and they ended up doing that almost in one quarter.
I have more bad news. Netflix released its earnings report today, and buried deep within the press release was, you guessed it, another price hike.
Remember when streaming was supposed to be the cheaper, better alternative to cable? Well, those days are long gone. After years of battling it out with competitors like Disney Plus, HBO Max, and Prime Video, Netflix has emerged as the undisputed king of streaming. And now that it's on top, Netflix has tightened its grip, forcing users to either pay up or miss out. But how did we get here? And more importantly, what does Netflix dominance mean for the future of streaming? Let's find out in this video. But before we start, don't forget to smash that like button. It helps us create more business content for you.
Have you left Netflix? Because they're losing subscribers for the first time in more than 10 years, and they say they could lose millions more by the end of the year.
Back in 2022, Netflix hit a major roadblock in its profitability. After a decade of explosive growth, Netflix shocked Wall Street by admitting it had lost hundreds of thousands of subscribers. By this time, the streaming wars had become a full-on bloodbath, with Disney Plus, HBO Max, and other Hollywood-backed platforms pouring in billions of dollars into flashy content to chip away at Netflix's market share. For a time, it seemed to be working. In 2022, Netflix lost subscribers for 2 straight quarters, leading to concerns that its metric growth had finally hit a ceiling. And the forecast was even worse. The company expected to lose another 2 million by the next quarter. On April 19, 2022, Netflix co-founder Reed Hastings and former CEO got on a call with investors who were, to put it mildly, not happy. He needed fast answers, so he started listing off the company's plan to fight its way back to dominance. And Netflix didn't just recover, it came back stronger than ever. In the last quarter of 2024 alone, it added 19 million new paid memberships, pushing its total to nearly 302 million worldwide. On top of that, its annual revenue jumped 16% to hit $39 billion. Investors were so pleased that Netflix stock hit an all-time high in January. One of the strategies implemented by Netflix during this desperate time is crackdown on password sharing. When Hastings made the announcement to end the freebies in April 2022, it might have sounded like he was making things up on the spot. But the truth is, this idea had been on the table for years. Netflix just hadn't acted on it yet. For years, Netflix turned a blind eye to password sharing. Why crack down when the company was still raking in new subscribers? Even co-founder and then CEO Reed Hastings once brushed off the idea, saying in 2016 that Netflix was doing fine and that password sharing was just something to live with. But with Disney, Warner Brothers, Discovery, Paramount, NBC Universal, Apple TV Plus, and other competitors chipping away at its dominance, Netflix realised it couldn't afford to keep looking the other way. They concluded that it was time to start making those millions of households streaming for free to pay. So after years of being known as the most consumer-friendly streaming giant, Netflix made it clear the rules had changed. When it was finally time to make those changes happen, Hastings turned to Greg Peters, the company's chief operating officer at the time. Like Hastings, Peter was a tech guy to the core. His mum was a programmer at IBM, and made sure he learnt to code as early as he learnt to read and write. Before landing at Netflix in 2008, he had previously worked at TiVo and Red Hat Network, building the kind of expertise that would help transform Netflix into an unstoppable force. When Netflix started testing its password sharing crackdown in early 2023, rolling it out in places like Chile, Costa Rica, and Peru, plenty of people were skeptical. Some analysts even predicted it would backfire, driving customers away instead of boosting revenue. But Netflix proved them wrong. The move didn't just work, it supercharged the company's growth. Added restrictions on viewers who were borrowing Netflix accounts got people to buy their own subscriptions. Over the next year, subscriber numbers skyrocketed, hitting 277.6 million in the third quarter of 2024, a 16.5% jump from the year before. Nearly 5 years after Disney Plus sparked the streaming wars, Netflix is still sitting comfortably on the throne. In July 2024, it accounted for 8.4% of total US screen time, while its closest Hollywood competitor, Disney, with both Disney Plus and Hulu combined, trailed at just 4.8%. Hollywood's other streamers, Warner Brothers, Discovery's Max, Comcast's Peacock, and Paramount Plus, barely managed 2% of total viewing hours. Speaking on the strategy, Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos said,
It was a couple of problems. One was revenue, but the other part of it was with this personalization, helping you find something to watch works better if you don't have 5 or 6 different people using your account. So for us, it was a way to really hone in with the personalization technology, but also a way to kind of test the value proposition. If you've got, our average members are watching about 2 hours of Netflix every day. So basically when you go back out to people and say, hey, you know that thing that you're using for 2 hours a day and not paying for, we'd like you to get your own account. And what's turned out nicely about that is most people say, yeah, that's well worth it for me to do that.
During this period, Netflix also adopted another strategy it had resisted for years, which is advertising. In partnership with Microsoft, Netflix developed a system to deliver digital ads and introduced a cheaper, ad-supported subscription tier. And to sweeten the deal for advertisers, Netflix also started publicly sharing its top 10 shows, making it easier for brands to target the most watched content. Netflix gamble in advertising paid off. By November 2024, its ad-supported subscription plan had reached a major milestone: 70 million monthly users. Even more telling, in countries where the plan is available, it now makes up 50% of all new sign-ups. For a company that once saw off ads, this is a massive shift. But with all this dominance comes the bills, and spoiler alert, Netflix users are the ones footing it.
So it just got a lot more expensive, basically, to go without ads.
Over the last 13 years, the standard ad-free plan has more than doubled, climbing from $7.99 to $17.99, with the latest $2.50 jump announced in January 2025. The affordable option is the $7.99, but now it comes with ads, and it's also $1 more expensive on January 26, 2025 than it was a week before. Netflix isn't just raising prices, it's testing just how much we're willing to pay before we say enough. Greg Peters, Netflix co-CEO, made it clear. The company believes it's only scratching the surface of its revenue potential. As long as Netflix keeps pumping out content and expanding its offerings, it expects to squeeze more money out of us every year. In simple terms, Netflix wants to own your entire entertainment budget. That's why price hikes are strategic. The real question Netflix is asking isn't whether you like the service, it's whether you'll stay when the price goes up. And so far, most people have. That's why Netflix keeps pushing the limits, confident that subscribers will keep paying. Then there's the ad-supported plan. Netflix generates more revenue from a combination of ads and lower fees than from pure subscriptions. It's strategically nudging users in that direction. The $7.99 plan went up $1 in just 1 week, while the ad-free option saw an even bigger jump. It's a clear message. Netflix wants you on the ad plan, but that's not its only attempt at pushing users towards the ad plan. It also makes the plan appealing with better resolution and multiple streams, proving it can still make money on lower subscription prices. Now, for the price of your Netflix subscription, you get a bunch of big budget movies, high-end TV shows, sports, and low-budget reality programs, all in one place. You probably don't watch it all, but you pay for it anyway. At this point, Netflix isn't just leading the stream wars, it's rewriting the rules. The question is, how much will subscribers tolerate before they start looking for an exit? But despite the price hikes and password crackdowns, subscribers aren't leaving in droves. In fact, Netflix is still growing. So why is that? Before we dive into the reasons, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more deep revealings like this. Back in 2006, a basic cable subscription set you back about $40 to $50 a month. You'd get live TV, but you'd also be stuck watching about an hour of ads every day. Fast forward to today, and live TV streaming services like YouTube TV and Comcast Sports and News Bundle are charging $70 or more just for live programming. Netflix, on the other hand, has changed the game. The average subscriber watches about 2 hours of Netflix every day, across movies, TV shows, and documentaries, and some are paying as little as $7.99 a month. That's a fraction of the cost of cable, and many users don't see a single ad. So, in some users' eyes, this isn't a price hike, it's still a bargain. Another area Netflix has an edge is its content slate. Over the past few years, it's gone from being one of many streaming options to something you can't really escape. It's got much-watched originals like Stranger Things, Wednesday, and Squid Game, proving it can pull off HBO-style appointment TV. But it's also figured out how to create cultural moments from scratch, like the Jake Paul vs Mike Tyson fight, or the Tom Brady roast. And then there's sports. It successfully streamed an entire day of NFL games without a hitch and dropped billions to bring WWE's Monday Night Raw to the platform, increasing its global reach outside the United States. Add in a never-ending supply of reality TV, cooking competitions, and binge-worthy filler, and Netflix has built a platform that dominates our TV viewership. Another significant factor in Netflix's lead is that it had a major head start, having entered the streaming world in 2007, long before most of Hollywood even considered ditching cable. It set up production hubs in different countries around the world, including South Korea, which in particular has been a goldmine, producing international hits like Squid Game and The Glory. Reed Hastings once joked that Netflix's biggest competitor is sleep, and honestly, sleep is still putting up a good fight. But when it comes to streaming, Netflix has already pulled ahead. Even YouTube, the true giant of online video, hasn't been able to shake its dominance. Other streamers, the ones that were supposed to be Netflix's biggest rivals, are now licensing their own shows, including HBO's 6 Feet Under and Insecure, to Netflix because that's where the audience is. That's where pop culture happens. The streaming wars have been chaotic, and they're far from over, but let's be real, Netflix already won. Now it's just a matter of how much it can cash in on that victory. And if history tells us anything, Netflix will make sure to find out because the company isn't slowing down anytime soon. Analyst Ralph Shacart from William Blair noted that Netflix still accounts for less than 10% of TV viewing in all the countries it operates in. The translation is that there's still plenty of room to grow, as streaming continues to take over traditional television. Co-CEO Ted Sarandos echoed this point, pointing out that the average user watches Netflix for about 2 hours a day. But for Netflix, that's not enough. The goal is to get people watching even more. The more hours streamed, the stronger its ad business becomes. So expect Netflix to keep finding new ways to keep you hooked. The streaming company is also planning to supercharge its ad revenue with more live events. 2024 was a massive success, with events like Jake Paul vs Mike Tyson becoming Netflix's most streamed sporting event ever, and the record-breaking NFL games on Christmas Day, drawing in 50 million viewers, helped in part by Beyoncé's Beyoncé Bowl. And 2025 looks just as ambitious. With a full year of WWE Raw on the books and a glowing lineup of sports and comedy events, Netflix is doubling down on must-watch live programming. It's also secured the rights to the Women's World Cups in 2027 and 2031, showing it's serious about becoming a dominant player in live sports streaming. Now the real question is, how much will Netflix make us pay for its victory? Let's know your thoughts on that in the comments. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more content like this. Thanks for watching!